Welcome to Bets on the Future, where we highlight the various career paths in the electrifying metals world. From the vehicle you ride in to the bridge holding it up, metals are everywhere. Why not in your career too? I'm Jennifer Betts, a metals industry veteran with almost 20 years experience, here to highlight these incredible career paths as told by the women who are living them. Welcome to Bets on the Future. This week, we have two incredible guests joining us. We have the esteemed Stacey Varmecki. She is the General Manager of Sales and Marketing at the Association for Iron and Steel Technology, AIST for those in the industry. We also have Kelly Dallas. She is the Senior Director of Engineering at Cleveland-Cliffs. A brief bio of Stacey Varmecki. She, as her role as General Manager for Sales and Marketing at the AIST, that's Association for Iron and Steel Technology, is characterized by her 25 years of experience and achievements in strategic planning, business development, and leadership within the iron and steel industry. In addition to her crucial role in growing AIST's membership through technological advancements and global engagement, she plays a pivotal role in AIST's Women in Steel initiative, aimed at promoting diversity within the workforce and addressing barriers for women in the steel industry. This initiative has grown significantly since its inception in 2018, expanding to include roundtable discussions, features in industry journals, and the establishment of a Women in Steel Award. Notably, female enrollment in AIST has doubled since the initiative began, underscoring Stacey's commitment to fostering inclusivity and opportunity within the sector. Her contributions have not only advanced AIST's mission, but also positioned the organization as a leader in technological innovation and member engagement within its sector. Stacey holds a Bachelor of Science degree in marketing with a minor in advertising communications from Gannon University and achieved the designation of Certified Association Executive from the American Society of Association Executives in 2017. In addition to joining Stacey, we have Kelly Dallas. She is the Senior Director of Engineering for Cleveland-Cliffs. She is responsible for managing the capital budget for the steelmaking facilities as well as the engineering teams for the Northwest and Ohio Valley plants. Her career began with legacy company Bethlehem Steel in 1999 in the Burns Harbor Engineering Department and has taken on increasing responsibilities in the engineering departments of the legacy companies. Dallas served on the AIST Board of Directors from 2016 to 2018 and is a past chair of the AIST Foundation Material Advantage Committee and the AIST Midwest Member Chapter. In 2011, she received the 2011 Outstanding Service Award from the Midwest Member Chapter. Dallas currently serves as chair of the AIST University Industry Relations Roundtable, the AIST Project and Construction Management Technology Committee, and the AIST Women in Steel Committee. She was honored with an AIST Presidential Citation Award in 2014 for her work in promoting AIST, reaching beyond colleges to high schools, and again in 2024 for her dedication to the success of AIST and the AIST Foundation programs to encourage interest from across a broad and diverse spectrum of membership. She received the 2017 Influential Women of the Northwest Indiana Award for Construction and Manufacturing. Dallas is featured in the book, Women in Steel, Women of Steel, Yesterday, Today, and Tomorrow. She received her BS degree in Mechanical Engineering from Purdue University Northwest and was named 2018 Outstanding Alumni in Mechanical Engineering and an MBA from Indiana University. A huge thank you to Stacey Varmecki and Kelly Dallas for joining on Bets on the Future today. And I am slightly out of breath because both of your backgrounds are incredibly impressive. So huge thank you for coming on the program today because we have a lot to talk about today.
We do. Thank you, Jennifer. Yeah.
Thank you for inviting us.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have to start off the podcast with something that I ask every guest because I'm always curious on this front. Metals never seems to be the first career choice that most people jump into. So I'm going to start off with Kelly on this one. I'm curious, you have a degree in mechanical engineering, and fortunately you finally, wised up and got the degree from Indiana University. Spoiler alert, I went to Indiana. Purdue is not exactly a little love-hate on that one, but uh, why metals? How did you find it? Where did you come across that particular field?
So I'm from Northwest Indiana, have been, lived here all my life. And it's very industrial area. There's a lot of steel mills and refineries and things in this area, but it just never, that wasn't really a choice until I was in college, and I was looking, I was a non-traditional student. I had 3 children at the time and a husband to keep me very busy. Decided to go to school, mechanical engineering. I had to do it the hard way. So as I was in school, with 3 kids, you still need additional income. So I was doing like part-time work while I was going to school. And one of our competitors now, they offered not only an internship, but a year-round internship. You were able to work full-time in summer and breaks, and then you had like a 18 to 22 hour limitation to work while you were in school. So that worked out perfectly, and they were very generous as where you can work your 18 to 20 hours, 22 hours or something around your schedule, not only your work schedule, my life schedule and things like that. So that really got my foot in the door to come into the steel industry. So when I graduated, again, naturally started looking at industrial, again, a lot of industries to pick from over here, but started looking, and that's really where I applied to work.
That's pretty interesting on that career path. It's pretty challenging from that perspective. Kudos to you, by the way, for managing mechanical engineering, which, by the way, just in itself, if you just went full time without anything else that you were juggling at the time, is one of the harder career tracks on that front for studying. So very impressed that you managed to do all that. It's really, really impressive that you were able to complete that.
Well, thank you.
Stacy, I'm curious for your career track. You work at an association for the steel industry. So how did you find the metals industry?
So my story is not as interesting as Kelly's, but my cousin actually was interning. He went to the Art Institute of Pittsburgh, and he was interning for one of the predecessor organizations, the Association of Iron and Steel Engineers in Pittsburgh. And there was a web administrator job open. And I was looking for a job when I graduated in '99, and I just applied and I got the job. I didn't know much about the steel industry at all. So I just started developing content, online marketing content to promote the organization. And that's how I got my start.
And you've stayed.
Yeah, I've stayed. Lots of opportunity, lots of great people. Really, once you get into this industry, it's really hard to leave because I don't do the same things each day. It's evolved, and I love that. I love the challenge. I love the people. I love the staff. I love the members. So it's really a fraternity, and that's hard for me to say, because I'm a female, but the industry is that, and it's a great place to be.
It really is. And before we started hitting record, for those that are listening versus watching this, we were talking about what's in our backgrounds of our offices beforehand. And both Stacy and Kelly have some pretty unique backdrops right now. Stacy has an incredible piece of art that came from the Women in Steel conference from last year, correct?
Correct.
That has the logo from Women in Steel for AIST, hand painted, right?
Hand painted, yes.
Freestyled from the artist on site.
Correct.
there, I think, are videos on LinkedIn, right, of the artist in
There
action.
are. Yes, he also did Rosie the Riveter right there on site by memory. It was amazing.
Very nice.
It's a pretty cool piece of art, but that was won by somebody within the industry, right? Like that went home with someone.
Correct.
It's got to be on somebody's office wall or like above a fireplace
Yeah,
somewhere.
they had
I was-
all of they had all of their attendees that joined the conference sign it on the back, and they actually put it in their lobby.
Mm.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, Kelly, I immediately saw out of the corner of your backdrop the very beautiful painting that you've got going on, and it might be somewhat challenging, for the audience to see. So kudos to our recycled media production team if they were able to edit the picture up there. It's of a BOF, and if you haven't toured a steel mill, whether it's an integrated or an EAF,
Mhm.
once in a lifetime, you have to go. It's pretty incredible. And I imagine, Kelly, the first time that you ever probably toured, stepped on site,
Oh, yeah.
you were probably, I'm in, sold,
Yeah,
done.
it's anybody who's done it, like you said, it's the first thing you see is, wow, it's big. Everything is on a very large scale, and just imagining on how, how we do it nowadays with very safety oriented, very much so. And you look in the olden times when they didn't, and you imagine how did they get all this done, because it's incredible. It's incredible.
It really is. Whenever I see a news article that talks about such and such company is starting up so many tons per year, new steel mill in this location, and then they say how many employees,
Hmm.
it's always fascinating to me because you go back to your point 20 years ago, 40 years ago, 100 years ago,
Hmm.
and you think about how many employees, but you also think about the safety records
Right,
from
right.
100 years ago. So it's very impressive, the safety records that are today
Yes,
versus 100
yeah.
years ago. So it's very appreciative of the technology that we have today.
Oh, that's
Most,
one thing our industry takes so seriously. You know, every single company out there puts that first and foremost.
yeah, I was right gonna say the same thing. If you look at any company, safety is usually number one. And it's not just verbiage. It's not just a sign that they put to do that. They actually follow it up to where kind of, as you said, maybe, many years ago, but they will stop things. Production will stop, things will stop if things aren't safe for just one individual. It's not it's, this very serious, how they take it. They want everybody to go home safely.
Mhm.
Absolutely. This particular podcast goes the full supply chain, all the way from raw materials to OEMs.
Mhm.
For those who may not be familiar with AIST, can you give a brief overview of the organization and its role and initiatives within the industry?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we cover a lot of ground. I mean, we're a global nonprofit association. We've been around since 1871. We're headquartered in Pittsburgh, and our primary mission is really to advance steel manufacturing technology. We have over 17,000 members from 70 plus countries. And our membership consists of steel producers, steel suppliers, whether it be heavy equipment, raw materials, et cetera, your academia, and your research and developers. So that's the basis of kind of how we're constructed. And we are made up of two grassroots components in which we interact with the global steel community. And the first is our member chapter networks. And our member chapters are regional networks, and they conduct their own program, and their programs and activities within their local steel community. So we now have 22 chapters on 6 continents. And then the second is our technology committees. So while our member chapters engage with members from specific geographical regions, our technology committees engage with members focused on specific processes or technologies in steel manufacturing. So we have 29 technology committees. And most of AIST's programs are rooted in our member chapters and our technology committees. However, while a majority of our work is focused solely on that, we do understand that promoting a diverse workforce is really vital to retain and grow our membership. So that leads me to our AIST Foundation. So we work closely with a separate entity, the AIST Foundation, which is a 501c3 nonprofit. It's organized for charitable education and scientific purposes. And our foundation is really in place to attract the next generation of steel workers. And the goal of our foundation is to provide $1 million annually to support this initiative through scholarships and internships and academic grants and funding for students to engage in AIST programs and interact with the greater steel community. So for our student program, AIST partners with 3 other associations. We have the Ceramic Society, ASM International, and the Minerals, Metals, and Materials Society. So for a fee of $30 annually, students can have access to all of these organizations. They become members of them, and they can learn more about each material to see which career path appeals to them most. So we have approximately 4,000 students and from 100 chapters all around the world. And Jennifer, you were talking about plant tours earlier. You know, one thing we do through our foundation is we will reimburse any university that wants to take a group of students on a plant tour up to $1,500 to do that, to get these students into a mill so they can see if this is for them. You know, we provide reimbursements for students traveling to AIST training conferences, and we provide free registration for that as well. Again, just to give them access to our industry to see if steel is somewhere they see themselves in their future. So
That's amazing.
yeah,
It's something that I wish I would have known about a little bit before going into college. The student members that you're talking about, I have to imagine that you have great relationships with maybe certain professors, certain colleges, maybe certain even high schools or high school teachers. I mean, is there a network that you have established or maybe associations with the professors or teacher organizations along those lines?
Yeah, so professors, yes, because we have 100 material advantage chapters globally. So each of those chapters has a professor liaison that we work through to communicate with those material advantage students.
Wow. Okay. That's
Yeah, and I think, and not to step on anything, Stacy,
Yeah,
but
please.
had done just at the chapter level, reached out to at the Midwest chapter, did a seminar for high school students. It was a day, kind of a day in, learn about engineering, learn about different things. And that went on for about 13 years. It was pre-COVID. So
Ellie led all that.
yeah, yeah, we did it for 13 years for, again, Northwest Indiana. We actually had some Illinois schools attend also. But the key to that was the teachers. You know, we had, again, kind of legwork finding which teacher would be interested in bringing their students, and they would bring entire classes to come to this event for a day to learn about engineering with, and we added steel into there because we had people from the industry kind of put on little hands-on type of events. But you know, as you said, Jennifer, and as Stacy's, you know, affirming that it takes the teachers and professors to get to the students to bring that. So if you can get those tied into the industry, you're going to get more people more students and young people to come in.
Yeah, and when you look at our internships too, I mean, we're doing a lot of good work there. We give $7,500 scholarship for anyone that completes an internship with a steel company for the summer. And the steel company, they're paid internships for the summer, right? So then you get $7,500 for a successful completion from AIST for that internship. And, you know, that's real money for people, you know, going to school and paying for their college. So, and we have extreme success keeping those individuals that have completed an internship in the steel industry. Like our statistic there, I think, is 68% of anyone that's come through our program has kept a job in the steel industry and stayed in the industry.
That's a fantastic stat on that. Yeah. It really does show that once you see our industry, you experience it, you learn about it.
Absolutely.
You don't leave. You,
right.
You stay here, right? I think my thought process when I joined, 6 months, I'll get my sales and, you know, marketing experience, and then bonus time, I'll figure out what I'll do next. 2 decades later, I'm still here.
Oh, truly, that was mine too, Jennifer. I thought I was going in because at that point they offered grad school tuition, and I was going to go back and get my MBA, and that was my plan. And I stayed.
Yep, still here. Yes.
Yeah.
So go on.
No, I wanted to tie the foundation into really like, why is all that important? Because, you know, a lot of the work that you do is really trying to educate people on the manufacturing industry and why it is a good career choice. And, you know, and also talking to women about manufacturing as an opportunity. And so, you know, we in 2024, the Delight and the Manufacturing Institute released a study, and they reported that the U.S. manufacturing skills gap could leave as many as 1.9 million jobs unfulfilled by 2033. And this is primarily due to retirements or open jobs due to industry growth, because, I mean, obviously there's so much investment going into our industry right now with the decarbonization technology evolution that's occurring here in the US. And then also other government investments through different acts that have been placed out there. So what they're looking at is the fact that higher level skills will be required due to the new technologies that are going to be deployed. And that's going to add a skills gap. And then there's tight labor markets that have also created application gaps. So building a sustainable team of employees with the right mix of skill sets for the future, it's going to be imperative. And what is also, the report also provided a chart that shows the compound annual growth rates of the fastest growing major skill categories. And this chart is very interesting because the industry is evolving and the future needs are in areas that people may not generally associate with manufacturing, and more specifically, the steel industry. I provided this graphic, but it's a lot of this is in more soft skills and digital technologies. So there's even more specifics. The report also provided a table of major skill categories to make it more comprehensive. And so when you drill down even further and get more specific in each of these segments, you can see the specifics for the digital skills and the soft skills. So obviously the technical skills are still needed, but it's going to be more than that. You're going to need analytical thinking and brainstorming and change agility, innovation, strategic thinking, the client services, customer empowerment. You know, these are all very important from the human capital perspective, which is very appealing, I think, also for women to engage in the industry and provide that aspect of work.
This chart is very interesting. And again, if somebody's watching, I'm looking at my other monitor over here to see what is outside of, you know, the technical skills, what is coming down the pipeline and what is needed in terms of additional skills. And it's interesting in terms of what one of the largest categories, the simulation software is one of the largest, combination of digital soft skills, high level technical skills. And there's an individual in the industry that is really into the digital twins area, which I've only relatively recently learned about in our space. And I think that just really kind of shows that our industry is just kind of learning about some of these types of technological advances that are going to probably be normal, or I don't know if that's the correct term to use, but going to be more everyday occurrences coming to the next generation that comes into our industry. And we're going to need those individuals that are aware of it, have the experience in it, or maybe the education in it, that they know that they can apply it, not just in a software or tech world, but they can actually go to a BOF or an EAF and apply it in a very cool real world manufacturing application.
Absolutely. And I'm not saying all companies are like, there are some companies that are leading the way in this, right? Some companies are already doing a good job at a lot of this. So I'm not trying to put every company in that boat saying that they're going to be growing or shifting to this, but this is going to be the way of the future for manufacturing.
It really is an impressive and insightful to see what is coming from a skill set for the manufacturing space. It's pretty cool. We'll have to see if there's a way for us to maybe, if you're open to sharing it, or maybe we can point to people perhaps onto the AIST website, if that's something that you publish or something along those lines, because I think more and more people would find it interesting to see what maybe they should start thinking about from an HR or talent recruitment standpoint for preparing in the next 5-10 years, or maybe it's even sooner, Stacy.
Yeah. And I put the link right at the bottom of that if you're going to share the image, Jennifer. So the full report, there's so much more great content in here that discusses about how companies are evolving and transitioning internally to focus their workforce mentality on listening to the customer needs. So they're doing more work around learning what the customer needs and then making their workflow internally suit that need, right? And so there's a lot of other really good content within that report, but this was pertinent to helping me explain how AIST fits into the overall picture and how our Women in Steel initiative supports some of the workforce development needs in this space.
Well, I do want to put it in a little bit broader of a context, because Women in Manufacturing states that in manufacturing, the gender breakdown is roughly 30% female, 70% male. And then I believe the stat might be from y'all that in steel, what is it, 20% female?
It possibly could be 20% if you factor in office workers as well.
Okay. Which, when you're thinking about the growth that we're seeing in the steel industry domestically, it seems like every other day a new steel mill is being built or being announced. A new service center is expanding. A new metal recycling facility is being built. The growth is just expanding essentially in North America in general. And you're thinking about the workforce development, we're leaving out a good chunk of the potential talent pool. And so
Yep.
This seems like an opportunity for the metals industry in general, but in particular the steel industry, to really take a look at how do we recruit an area of the workforce that whenever you talk to a female in the industry and you ask them, like I've asked Stacy and Kelly here, did you take a tour of the steel mill? Did that lock you in the first time that you saw a BOF, the first time that you saw a charge bucket drop into an EF? You ask any woman, they're in, they're sold.
Mhm.
And yet we're still missing some of the opportunities, because I don't think it's a male or female. I think it's anyone will find what we do in this industry very fascinating if they get the opportunity
Right.
to experience themselves.
Absolutely. We couldn't not agree with you more. And I think I think why AIST paused and even looking at that for a bit is because our mission is to advance technology. And when you look at that mission being to advance technology, there seemed to be other groups that were potentially working on, you know, the other elements. And so when we started to learn a little bit more about the workforce needs and learning more about how to help our industry by establishing the University and Industry Relations Roundtable and things of that nature. So we started to evolve our programs and understand that there was more that we could be doing. So that led us to start to talk about engaging women in the Women in Steel Initiative, because, you know, according to the December 2023 U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics data, you know, there are 46.7% of women in the workforce. So that basically supports exactly what you just said, which is we're leaving out half of the labor pool when we are not looking at engaging women. So we started our efforts back in 2018. And when we started those efforts, the AIST's membership base consisted of only 5.9% women. And why I paused or hesitated to answer your question earlier, when you asked me how many women are in the industry, is because I can only go off of the data that I have here at AIST. And when I explain what our membership base consisted of, it's really the producers and the suppliers and the academics and the researchers. So really those that are focused on the technological advancements. So, you know, while we do have some HR and sales and marketing and administrators engaged, historically, there hadn't been a large amount of that grouping engaged with AIST because we did not have a significant amount of content for them to engage with. So we started in 2018 at 5.9% women. We conducted a focus group, small focus group, where that group determined, hey, just go out and survey the membership and determine if they want us to utilize AIST's resources to talk more about building programs for women. So we did that. We spent months constructing questions to determine if we should release this survey. And the survey, it provided a lot of good data, but the predominantly it was 70% of those respondents in our membership felt that we should continue to evolve these discussions. So we did. I mean, we held a multitude of roundtables for years to just continue to understand how can we help, how can we help, how can we help. And you know, in our most recent roundtable was in 2024 at AIS Tech, our annual meeting in Columbus. And at these roundtables, we talk about real situations, you know, real things. And I'm just going to read a couple of comments that, you know, we collect feedback from the attendees before they attend the roundtable. And we initially only took 50 people for the roundtable because we wanted to have very productive discussion. And then we had to expand it to 100 this year because we sold out not even 24 hours of being open. So our international audience didn't even have a chance to register by the time that we had opened it. So we had to give them another day. So we had 100 attendees this year at our roundtable. And we anonymously allow individuals to submit topics they want to discuss. And I'm just going to read a few because these are the things that we try to group into categories, and we try to have these tables break out and provide us with feedback and ideas as to how to provide training to help anybody dealing with these types of conflicts in their workplace. So, comments from our attendees: addressing gender-sensitive topics in the workplace, feminine product availability, maternity leave, addressing sexism, discrimination, PPE, physical limitations, family flexible schedules. They want to be able to address these things to and with male coworkers and leadership. They wanted guidance on how to start a grassroots women's group. They wanted engagement of women in more senior positions or veterans to support the evolution of women in the industry. They wanted help dealing with disrespectful people in the workplace, where some have an old school train of thought and struggle with dealing with women in careers that have typically been taken by men. They want help situations where strong women who stick up for themselves or push for higher standards, etc., are considered mean, inappropriate, etc., but the same behavior can be made by a man and considered authoritative, strong, and in control. So those are just some of the comments that were received. And so, like I mentioned, we group them all into topics. We put them out for the group to talk about, and then they provide us with tons of programming ideas that we then in turn take and we build into our annual Women in Steel conference that we developed. We held our first one last year in September.
Which sold out pretty
Yes.
quickly, by the way, because I was not able to register in time because I was tardy on registering on that one. Within
We
like
were-
2 weeks of opening up the registration.
Yeah, it
something
was
like that?
3 weeks, and we had to work with the facility to expand as much space as we possibly could. And so we switched rooms. And so we expanded the space as much as we possibly could within the property that we had contracted. And we were able to fit 273 attendees in the space. We had 30 people we could not get in that were on the wait list, but we had so many calls of people that just quit putting themselves on the wait list because they knew that they were so far down the line that they probably wouldn't get in. So we really, I don't know if we anticipated really having that much interest. And we did. So and Kelly's going to talk a little bit about our conference in 2024, but we didn't make that mistake for 24.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, we've grown our membership through these small efforts that we've made to 11% now. So we've doubled our membership. We're getting more and more women interested and engaged. We've had calls from all over the world, truly, of people that are hearing about what we're doing here, and they want us to do more webinars and provide content that they can start to share with the women's groups that they're administering within their own facilities monthly. So we're talking about that. We have a steering committee now that our board formally approved. It's the first one that we've had as far as a membership committee is concerned. So we have one for Women in Steel and we have one for our young professionals. So these are both for workforce development programs for those specific segments. Our largest group of females within AIST is in that 35 years of age and younger. So we're doing so much better to attract these women. And now these groups that we've established here, we've just got to work to retain them. And when I look at the student statistics, we have 35% female in our student group. So now we have to work to attract these students to our industry, to steel. So this is the work that our Women in Steel Standing Committee is going to be doing here in the near term. And we have an amazing group of women from many different companies engaged. And I cannot say enough about what a great experience it's been being able to work with them and how passionate everybody is to move this mission forward.
Well, Kelly, I have to ask on the student side of things in the Women in Steel conference. Out of curiosity, are students allowed to participate or to come to the conference as well?
Yes. Yes, and they are, as Stacy said, we do offer reimbursements and grants for students to come to conferences, and that's included. So students are allowed to come to our conference.
That's wonderful. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
I
and I also do have to make a note, the conference is not only open to just females. You've
correct.
had males and females attend in the past, and it is openly encouraged for both, correct?
Absolutely, absolutely. Right now we have, as Stacy said, we had 273. We maxed out last year. But as of today, we are about 370 enrolled, and we still have what, 6 weeks, 6 weeks
Yeah.
left to go. So we really are anticipating to surpass our goal of 500 this year, which is amazing. I'm sure nobody would have thought we would get 500, participants at this event, again, just being the second year. And of that 5%, around 5% over is male. So they are interested to come. We encourage them to come because this is, again, they don't understand our issues. And if we kind of go through it, it's more of an education and allies and help us get through that side of it. So we are doing it in September again. It's going to be September 16th through the 19th. For anybody who's interested. And at the David Lawrence Conference Center in Pittsburgh. Again, we had it in the hotel, and now we are actually in the conference center because of the size of anticipated participants. One of the other unique things is that if you've ever gone, and I'm sure you've gone to some conferences, Jennifer, and with Stacy, with our participation, we are kind of, as she said, we're kind of identified as supplier, but I'm gonna mess it
Producer.
up now. Supplier, producer, and I'm a producer, so supplier, producer, and academia. And usually the suppliers, because they want to sell, where there are usually more suppliers than there are producers. I don't know, about a 25 to 75% ish type of thing. And
Right.
right now we're showing 55% are producers. So that's a pretty big, swing to get people that are interested in coming in here to do that. So we're really excited about that. Kind of as you said, the just getting in to be able to come, we actually started out and we had some sponsorships, and we actually had to create additional sponsorships because we sold that out right away. And people kept calling Stacy and the group to say, hey, I want to support this. So to get companies to actually call and say, how can I give you some money to support this event is really phenomenal. So AIST has done a great job in creating not just, hey, give me money, it's to creating sponsorship to show the support of the companies that are actually supporting us. So to do that. And then the other thing that was brought up is, at conferences, they wanted, again, some other type of exhibits, not just, we do a lot of networking, but to have exhibitors there for us to talk to and to visit and to promote some of theirs. So right now we wanted to keep, again, on a smaller scale. So we have probably about 10 booths available if anybody wants to come in and have an exhibit during this event. Again, we're open to that. And then as we went through, as she said, we've got some feedback. So a lot of the content in this is based on what the feedback we received from our last roundtables and our last conference. Last year, again, anybody can go online and to AIST.org and see there's videos, there's a lot of documents, and there's a lot of photos out there of the last year's events. But coming from there, one of the big things is they wanted some professional development to happen at the conference. So we left that as an option. We are doing it on the first day in the afternoon. And actually, one of the big things that came out of this is a lot of conferences start on Mondays. So people have to travel on Sundays. And people said, well, if you're looking at family value, why are we traveling on a Sunday? So we actually moved it. So our conference officially starts on Tuesday. We do have a reception Monday night, but we do have the workshops if people do want to come in early. And the workshops we're very excited about. We have an option, they're 2 hours apiece, so you have an option of going to one or two. Can't go to all four, but there's options depending on where you want to go. Our first one, Raul Dogra from Vision to Market Limited is doing a workshop on making the transition from technical to management. The participants are going to be shown how to manage that transition and what skills they need to focus on to do that. It'll enable them to use those skills to develop, and then it's also for existing managers who want to get an opportunities to rate their existing soft skills portfolio to identify which areas that they need to improve. So that's one that we can go through. Another one is Allison Grizzle from she's the founder and president of Clearview Strategy Partner, and she's actually going to put on a predictive index assessment. So if anybody's gone through a PMI or PI predictive index, I guess, Allison, she's going to discuss how companies use behavior analytics to drive the bottom line from that, and then help individuals go through and identify their style, strengths, and blind spots to be able so kind of a takeaway for yourself on a personal level. We're going to also have Jamie Lewis Smith, who's the executive CEO of Pixel Leadership Group. She's going to do a defining, embodying, and bringing visibility to your brand. So a lot of people want to know, how can I promote my own brand, my personal brand, to go through that. So they'll be step by step on to be able to create your own brand from there. And then Jerry Burns will be doing an introduction to conscious living and leadership. So that's an interactive workshop to be able to be introduced and to modify opportunities to try concept and tools associated with conscious living that we can do in your own life. So again, a very good day to pick and choose what you want to do from that. Going into the day two, we're full of a lot of people and a lot of women who are coming in. This is just exciting to me. We're going to start with Shushma Walker, who's the president of business technology for Nucor. We're going to do an interview with her to start off, to kick off our session. We're going to have two panels that day with industry people sitting on those as panelists. The first one is going to be, I wish I knew what I know now. So back then, and then boots on the ground on how women are paving the way to operations. So that's people who started as on the floor and worked their way up to management. And then Raul Dogra will come back and do an emotional intelligence session for us. And then throughout this, we're going to have networking opportunities, because that's, to me, the key to a lot of this is just walking around and being able to talk to people and interact with people that you either know or going to get to know from that point. And we're also going to have the CEO of McGee Women's Health Research Institute come and talk about the state of women's health research, which is big. So that's going to be, especially now with these days of, we don't know how things are going with women's health. So we want to keep on top of that on where we are from there. And then our final day, we're going to have actually two keynote speakers from industry. Carol Jackson, who was the former president, chairman and CEO of Harbison Walker International. And then we will also have Tracy Forrester, executive vice president of environmental and sustainability from Cleveland Cliffs. So very excited to have Tracy come talk for us. We're going to have another industry panel, which is improving workplace climate with employee resource groups. And as Stacy said, this was a huge topic of getting resource groups in. Hopefully from this, more people will start doing it, because it was harder to find people who actually do this type of thing. It has resource groups within their companies. So hopefully this will be a kickoff for them. Jamie Lewis Smith will be back, and she's going to give a session on combating stress and burnout, which I think is great. And then Maureen Zapala will come and talk about imposter syndrome, something I think we all kind of associate with. So again, and more networking and things from that. And yeah, we're extremely excited to have this event again, 5 weeks away. And again, please, if you are interested in registering, please go ahead to AIST.org. And it's Women in Steel, and you can register there. Like I said, and if you're still on the fence a little bit, look at what we did last year. It's amazing. I think, Stacy, and if you haven't mentioned it already, you can mention it now. It was one of the top social media, stayed on the social media for quite a while. A lot of people posted, a lot of people were very excited by this event.
Yeah.
So it's great. It is absolutely, I'm looking forward to it.
Longest shelf life.
Yes. Well, y'all did a fantastic job during the event. You not only promoted it ahead of time, obviously, because it sold out immediately, but that also clearly showed that there was a need for it.
Yeah.
But you did a great job during the event because you were doing interviews during the event. Then you posted those interviews on the day that the interviews were happening. You did feedback from actual attendees at the event, like outside some of the sessions, even with feedback of what happened in the session. I mean, it was kind of, for the people that couldn't get in real time feedback via LinkedIn, a little taste of what was happening without being able to actually attend. So I really do see you selling out again. I mean, you've already sold out the room blocks, correct? I mean, those are
The room blocks, but we're adding more. Like the city of Pittsburgh is going to work with us, so we are continuing to add more rooms. We could go up to 700 in the convention center, which is why we put it there. Like last year, not being able to serve the community of individuals that wanted to join and learn was really, a bummer for us. So we really don't want to repeat that mistake. So we do have room to grow this year. And I mean, at some point we'll have to cut it off, but we will reach 500 and potentially more depending on how these next few weeks of registration shape up.
And
we're hoping you can join us, Jennifer, to do some live podcasts from our event.
Yes, I do need to book my travel. I mean, spoiler alert, yes, we are quickly approaching it. So I need to actually get my travel. And the reason why I haven't is because it's back-to-back weeks with the REMA roundtables in Chicago. So I'm just trying to figure out, do I go to Pittsburgh and then fly back across the country to fly back to Chicago? Or do I see some friends in the Midwest for a girls' weekend and then just save some flights and so figuring out those details before. But yes, I unfortunately will not get one of the room blocks for right now.
We could help you.
Maybe we'll see on that.
Stacy knows people. Stacy knows.
Yes, I might know a couple people on that front. I was talking to somebody within the industry a couple weeks ago, and they started in steelmaking 30 plus years ago, and they were visiting a steel mill in I won't say the area because it'll give away which one it is, but they were shocked in a good way about the amount of women that were on the production floor. Not necessarily, in the quote traditional female, roles there, but he was saying it surprised him, again, in a good way, but he's remembering from 30 plus years ago, not seeing, the managers being female at the rolling mill, not seeing them from, supervisors on the floor, but he in his words said, quote, they were everywhere. It was impressive to see that, and it was not an issue. Like he was on a tour and it just it wasn't an issue. I don't remember exactly the percentage that he gave me, but it made an impression on him, and it seemed like it was not an issue at that particular steel mill. And so it's clearly, and it's one of the more profitable ones. So it's coming along. Initiatives
Yeah.
like what you're working on at AIST with Women in Steel, with helping the next generation understand what we're working on in this industry is incredible. With Kelly's beautiful painting in the background, with Stacy's awesome painting as well in the background is incredible. I have to, on that note, ask, are we going to get an artist at the Women in Steel conference, or is that a secret we cannot release yet on?
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about doing a few new things
Okay.
this year. We're not opposed to bringing them back because we loved them,
Okay.
but we're seeing if we can do a few new things.
Okay.
We're not done yet with this
Okay.
planning portion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the industry is definitely evolving. It's changing. We weren't 70% EAFs 20
Yeah.
years ago, right? So
Totally.
it shouldn't surprise anyone that our workforce is going to be the same as it was 20 years ago. So if our way that we produce steel or decarbonize or technology advancements adjust, why wouldn't some of the way that we recruit or encourage workforce development adjust along with the times? So I think what you're working on at AIST is really incredible, and really salute you for what you're working on. Thank you.
Oh, same. We appreciate everything you're doing as well. And
Yeah.
I mean, and there's plenty of companies that are out there forging the way as well, some of our data is not representative of the entire industry, and it's really important that I do say that because of, what you mentioned with, the gentleman you were speaking with walking into the mill. There are some companies that really are out there pushing ahead with this initiative. So it's important to note that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know we went a little bit over time, but I do want to give both of y'all an opportunity to make sure that if there was any other topics that we didn't get to, if there was any advice for anyone potentially looking to get into the industry, anything along those lines, I want to at least give you an opportunity to share anything that maybe we just haven't had the opportunity to get to.
I think, again, kind of advice is look for companies who do offer internships, especially college students. It's a great way, and I think as I can attest, and as you both said, this is the way to get in. To me, it's a long job interview, because you can find out you don't like it. But if you do like it, you're there. Apply for scholarships again for 12 weeks to get not only paid for it, but to get an extra $7,500. I mean, it's awesome to do that. And it's diverse. I mean, you can go from, I want to go out to the blast furnace or EAF, or I want to go on the finishing side where everything's nice and shiny. I want to go in process automation. I want to go into sales. I want to go into accounting. I mean, there's just about every job that you can go in through here. So huge opportunities. Please look into it. Talk to professors, talk to your teachers. Go from there, talk to a professional, come to a conference. You will get a lot of experience, and good things come out of it.
Yeah, I second everything Kelly said. Network. I mean, associations are really, really important. You look at our material advantage program. If you don't know yet which industry you want to go into, but you're leaning towards manufacturing or materials, $30 gets you access to 4 industries that have a plethora of material science that you can explore.
Mhm.
So.
Yep.
And on the connecting side, what's the best way to get a hold of AIST? The website, best way, LinkedIn?
Yeah, either website, LinkedIn, our staff contacts are out there. There's a listing of all of our staff and the departments and what they do. Feel free to reach out to me directly.
Okay.
My information's out there. Yep.
And for Stacy and Kelly, perhaps directly LinkedIn as well.
LinkedIn, yes. Yeah,
Wonderful.
it's great.
Well, Stacy, Kelly, I want to just say huge thank you for coming on to the program today. Stacy Varmecki, she is the General Manager of Sales and Marketing for the Association for Iron and Steel Technology, AIST. And Kelly Dallas, she's the Senior Director, Engineering at Cleveland Cliffs. Stacy and Kelly, just huge thank you for your time, your knowledge, everything that you're working on within the industry. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming on to the program today.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Looking forward to meeting you face to face in Pittsburgh.
Yes,
Absolutely.
very soon.
Yes.
Yes, thank you.